All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome to your reading for the full moon in Scorpio, happening on the 15th of May in the Northern Hemisphere and the 16th of May in the Southern Hemisphere. We are also into eclipse season, and so I like to think of eclipse season as there being hidden doorways and hidden opportunities and sort of little bursts of energy that you may not have expected coming from places one way or another, either to push you forwards into a different frame of mind or to redirect your energy and to get you to change the plane of focus when something isn't working. So it can be a really good time to move into a different space of being and into a different sort of way of being. And sometimes you can liken eclipse season to driving over those little power things in Mario Kart that give you that extra boost. They're just sort of they can be relatively unpredictable, but they also serve as sort of a gateway and a doorway of energy. We're just coming to the end of Taurus season here, and there is sort of a deep sense of grounding that comes with the wrapping of this sort of really earthly season. But I'm getting really strong messages about refocusing the energy on the heart. Knowing how your mind feels and sort of being able to compartmentalize and categorize your thoughts is really important. Being able to recognize and acknowledge your thoughts is really important, and being able to be connected with your root and that sort of more stabilizing primal energy of grounding is really important. But as we start to look forwards towards Gemini season, we're really being asked to settle into the space of the heart and really remember that that is where we make our best decisions from. Our heart and our gut, they work really well in tandem, but especially when it comes to intention, what do you want? Are you looking outside yourself for answers? Those kinds of questions and that kind of seeking, allowing yourself to get quiet and to lean back into the heart space, which Scorpio can surprisingly be good at doing. They just don't really make it obvious. So use that as an intention for this full moon to really refocus your energy so that you're not wasting your energy in projects or people or directions that don't actually serve you. Okay. Interesting. So the first card we pulled here is the Air Guardian, one of my favorite goddess guardian cards, but we pulled it in reverse. And so there seems to be, this comes down to relationship. And again, when I say relationship, I mean relating to others. So it could be work related, it could be friendship related, it could be intimately related, it doesn't matter. But there is something going on with a relationship that you are a part of where things are going unsaid. And you won't be able to ignore this. The longer that you allow this to go by the wayside and run along this little trajectory as you try and live your life and you sort of ignore that it's present, or you acknowledge that it's there but you don't really do anything about it, it is going to gain momentum and force. Especially in eclipse season, these types of things have a way of coming to a head. And so if there is something underneath, or it seems quite obvious that there is something underneath, there's something that's not being said in this relationship, it is so important that you at least check in with yourself and you get really clear about how you're feeling about the situation. Because allowing it to exist in the sort of this realm and up, or even in the body and in the tissues, and not addressing it is going to make it really messy as things come to a head, or if things come to a head. If you want to take the courageous route, by all means, look towards yourself and then have the conversation, ask the question, write it out first, bounce it off somebody else, and then bring it up to that person. But what's being unsaid in this relationship is only going to cause more trouble, more drama, more complication, And a lot of this is seeming like it's going to come to a head in Leo season in July. And so be conscious of what you're not saying or what's not being said, and take the courageous route and move towards that which makes you uncomfortable, because you will feel so much lighter and so much clearer if you are direct about how you're feeling and you are brave enough to communicate it with that person. And surprisingly, it may actually strengthen the relationship with that other person, but it's going to undoubtedly strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself and the ability that you have to trust yourself to be able to act in a way that feels in integrity with what you want out of life and with your bigger intentions. It's funny, things seem to be quite visually dependent today, so I'm not really getting much channeling in between cards. That being said, do be aware of pace. Pace is a big thing that's been coming up lately. Leo season in July is really when we get to the height of things in the summer months, and things move quite quickly and everything is energy and everything is moving all the time, and we're still in a slower period of growth right now, and we're still in this beautiful beginnings, this germination period of spring and of life and the movement towards summer. And so be very mindful of the structural framework of the world out there that asks us to go, 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 and to always say yes, and to push a little bit further, and never to allow ourselves to get silent and to pause, or to take, an afternoon or a whole morning to just be slow and quiet. And so moving into June especially, and this transmission is really coming in as a transition for Gemini season, be really aware of your pace and be really patient with yourself when you feel like you're trying to rush, because it's out there in the world, it's out there in the air to really try and push things forwards, and you will find so much more ease and so much more freedom if you allow yourself to go against the flow a little bit and slow down, or not even go against the flow, but just let yourself go at the pace that feels better for you, even if everybody else is rushing ahead, because those people are going to get burnt out, and you are going to feel replenished and balanced and stable moving into Gemini season. Okay. This is coming up as a card for the feminine energies, and I'm really going to start transitioning away from the word feminine, or sort of the use of feminine, just because there's so many cultural connotations that come with it. And what I really mean is the yin energy, like the yin and the yang energy, the receptive and the active energy, the watery and the fiery energy. The yin is feminine in the sense that it's life bringing, and it's receptive and it's open and it's deep and it's fluid and movement and circular. There's no hard lines. And so if you can bring yourself into the understanding of yin and yang versus sort of feminine and masculine, it'll be easier, and we'll get less stuck in those cultural representations of feminine and masculine and that polarity. So this Water Guardian card is really coming in as a transmission for the yin energy within all of us, and some of us it's more present than others, regardless of the body or the vessel that you carry. But there is something that is so tender that is growing within you, in this yin side of you, and you need to nurture it. You need to hold it like a little water droplet that you can maintain and you can stop from bursting, and allow it to slowly grow until it is the strength of a river, and it has that deep quality that cannot be distracted from its course. That could come in the form of a hobby. Maybe you're starting to play an instrument, or you're taking up crocheting. Maybe it is reconnecting with your body, or it's rewiring your thoughts, or it's reconnecting with your breath and learning how to trust your breathing. But there is something soft within you and something yin within you that is growing. And I plead with you to nurture that and give it the space and the protection that it needs to be able to grow and to be able to strengthen itself in the way that when it does feel more ready to be shared with the outside world or shared in expression, it's going to be strong enough and it's going to have enough of its own energy source that it cannot be distracted or diminished or reduced or whatever. It can't be cut. You know, you can't cut the energy of a river, because if you put sort of any stick or sword or whatever, or any sort of slicing element, it just goes around it. And so remembering that we're still in Taurus season, we haven't quite transitioned yet, and remembering that there may be something growing within you. Taurus season is that time for germination and growth. Give it the shelter that it needs. And you don't need to share it. It doesn't need to be public. But it's tender and it's soft and it's really, really beautiful. And it could take over much more of your life than you realize. So give it the space to grow, hold it, nurture it, care for it, and allow it to slowly evolve as it's going to naturally. All right. One more. I've also been getting a lot of questions or sort of inquiries lately about the twin flame concept. This is something I'm quite familiar with. There is a lot of confusing literature out there about what it is and how it works and what is the twin flame spiritual relationship. So if you are somebody who is experiencing or believes they might be experiencing or wants to know more about the twin flame concept, please send me a direct message. I will consider recording a video on it. And I also do private sessions of that nature. So just something for your wheelhouse. Choosing the higher path here. Yeah, interesting. So this card came up in the 2022 forecast that I did, which I think was like a 40-minute read. And the theme of the Hunter is all about going directly towards your fears. Now, we got this card also in reverse. And so the message that's coming through for the full moon in Scorpio is really about being brave and being courageous and going towards things that scare you, but not pushing so far. You know, the world out there, the world that we live in, the frameworks that we're trying to break down and that are breaking down already are so much about pushing, push further, go harder, take another step, reach higher, whatever. And it's making everybody tired, and it's sort of a reductionist and extractive mentality. We see that in the earth. We have such an extractive culture that we are taking from the earth. We're not giving back. We're taking resources. We are using up what we have. And so as beautiful and strong as this Hunter card is, there is also a deep call for patience. And hunters, anybody who actually hunts that you may know or you could speak to, especially anybody who has more of a traditional way of hunting, or, you know, maybe uses less bullets or uses a more traditional method of hunting, half of hunting is listening. It is being extremely quiet. It is absorbing your surroundings, taking in your surroundings, and really, really gaining a deep listening and a deep sort of trust and resonance with what is around you. And waiting and being patient and allowing your consciousness to expand to the point where you're ready to receive the messages in silence. And so this reversal card is coming in as a herald that you've already started this work. You've already made the decision. You've already done the okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go towards my fear. I'm going to go towards what I'm passionate about. And that is a beautiful confirmation, receiving it in reverse, that this has already been started. But half of that journey and half of that exploration is really about patience and pace and commitment and recommitment, and allowing yourself to be silent and to listen for the feedback that is coming through to you in the more subtle energies and in the more subtle messages from the universe, because they're constantly there. But if you're too busy to hear them, you won't recognize when things are coming your way. And I say this a lot, but it is very true that anything that's meant for you won't pass you up. And so even if you miss a billion signs, you'll keep receiving them, or you'll go into a sort of different period of life for a bit, and then they'll come back, and the things that are truly meant for you will sort of hit you over and over and over again until you recognize it. Unless you're really adamant on living totally out of alignment, but most people naturally aren't. So don't worry about, oh my gosh, I've been too busy, I'm going to miss my signs, or I'm going to miss what's going on. But this reverse hunter card is really a request to listen with your being, listen with your whole being, listen with your energy, trust how you're feeling, and try, one step at a time, try and sort of diminish that feeling of doubt of, oh, I feel this way, but nobody else is doing that, so I'm not really going to do it. And that is a really difficult thing to ask of people who are sensitive and people who are naturally change makers, because it can feel like we're often going against the grain all the time, constantly saying no when everyone else is saying yes, constantly sort of changing the route. But this is how we will bring the greater change for the new earth that we're moving towards. I don't think it's a secret that we're going to be living through a massive transition in the way that we do things, in the way that we live our lives, because it's necessary. So allow yourself to listen with your whole being. Allow yourself to trust a little bit more. Trust those hunter instincts of knowing what works and knowing what is showing up for you. And if you can silence that white noise, you're going to find a connection to that deep river of knowledge so quickly that you might actually shock yourself. And so trust your being, trust your body. If you're somebody who's been through traumatic experiences that involves the somatic body, if you've been through bodily experiences that involve trauma and you don't feel like you can trust yourself or you can trust what your body is telling you, then explore practices that might allow you to rewire that. There are lots of embodied practices that allow you to learn a bit more about how your body works and to rewire yourself. Yoga, martial arts, dance, a lot of like solo physical activities, and anything that really involves creative movement with your body. Even hiking too. A lot of these experiences and time spent moving your body in a listening setting will allow you to gain a little bit more access to what your body wants and needs, and you will eventually over time teach it to feel safe in its environment, and then that ability to trust yourself will be almost unwavering and really rock solid. And so I invite you to explore embodied practices. Do a little bit of research online. Send me a DM if you want to learn more about that. But that's going to be a huge step in the global healing process as well, is rewiring these vessels so that the really sensitive people, the people who have experienced trauma, and the people who are going to be pretty integral in terms of moving this energy forwards and expanding this energy, it will allow those folks to be at home in their bodies a little bit more, which is really what Taurus season is all about. And so it's going to be a pretty unique full moon with the Scorpio sign and Taurus sun season. And so Look for special opportunities and little signals. Look for that little burst of energy or that secret doorway that comes from eclipse season, and trust yourselves and take care. If you would like to support my work, there's a post or a link in the description box below. My meditations are available on YouTube and on Linktree through Instagram. Please like, comment, and share. I am just trying to reach as many souls as possible. And if you would like to book a reading, I'm only doing video readings at the moment, but I still love to connect. And so send me a DM, drop me a comment in YouTube, and I hope you all have a wonderful full moon in Scorpio. Blessings.